story in my life. She was a hero to me. And I think this want and need to help people has always been in me. Like, I want to be of service to you. Just a quick story. My mother is a social worker, right? And Iran had a revolution in 1979, and my mother was taken in. 4 of her roommates were executed. My mom was also on death row. She was next to be executed, and they were just trying to build a case around her. Anyone that was against this new regime, a new government. So while she was in prison, one of her friends found her name on a list and said, "Oh my God, I recognize her."
Welcome. You're about to hear an amazing interview with a woman named Hanieh Sigari. This interview goes deeper than just who she is. It's what she's about and what she stands for. She stands for women empowerment in her company, Qyral. And I had the honor of connecting with her on a deeper level and getting to meet her husband and baby. And if you stay till the end of the interview, you're going to meet them yourself. This interview was deep in connection and deep in earning the learn on what life can offer you if you keep going. I want you to hear her amazing story, and I really do hope you enjoy it. Thanks again. Take care. I am with Hanieh, and how do you say your last name?
Sigari.
Sigari.
Yes, Sigari. It means tobacco roller in Persian, because I guess my great-grandfather was a tobacco roller. Hey.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell me about that. So, Hanieh, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you're doing and how you got there.
Sure. So I was born in Iran, in the middle of the Iran-Iraq War.
Oh, wow.
We immigrated to the U.S. when I was about 6, 7. So I was so grateful to be in this country, right now, especially with all the diplomatic things that are happening between the two countries. But I'm so grateful to be here. Grateful for my parents. But how did we get here? Oh boy, it's been a long journey. So as soon as I arrived to the US, I was very smart. I was like, I got to find someone to teach me English. And I found all the geriatrics in my community. And I guess my dad didn't know. He moved us to a 50 plus community. I was the only kid there. So quickly, I gathered up all my friends and Madeline, Richard, all these people. And I would hang out with them after school. My mom thought I was with my with kids for my class, but I was with all these geriatrics, and they were teaching me English until my birthday rolled around. She's like, invite all these friends that you're talking about. I'm like, I don't think they'll make it up the stairs. She's like, eh. And sure enough, roll like Madeline, Richard, Ditz, and all these, my crew with their walkers and canes. But yeah, I guess that's where my affinity and love and passion for the field of aging really started, until I was, I guess, in the 5th, 6th grade, they started dropping. That's what they don't tell you. When you befriend older people, they're at their end. So once they started passing away, I was like, oh my God, my friends are gone. How do I do? So I started thinking about like research and in the field of aging. And that's where like my world really started. How do we prolong life? How do we keep our friends around for as long as possible? Yeah, once I graduated college, my undergrad was bio and psychology, and then graduate school, I did biochemistry, because I wanted to do research in the field.
So I did the same exact thing you did.
No way.
I didn't want to say, I was like, should I say anything? Should I not?
Really?
Yeah, I did I did biology, biopsychology, biochem, and then I went to organic, and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. I knew there was something there besides.
Funny, New Jersey, New York,
Yeah.
So tell me more about, you talked about geriatric people. Let's give some frame around that, because you worked in, is it HMO or HHO?
No, home health care.
Oh, home health care.
Home health care.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I got out of, and simultaneously during all my years of college and grad school and so forth, I worked with the aging population. Like I worked in a nursing home, and I love that applied aspect of it and the one-on-one. So as soon as the bosses would go home, I was 16, I would bring out my makeup bag and I would bring out my curling iron, and I'd go around doing their makeup and their hair. And I just saw how they would like come to life. This woman that was in a wheelchair and she looked frail. She would just, all of a sudden she became like the sassy woman, right? And I guess that's when I realized like, makeup, beauty is something that women will always love and enjoy, no matter how old they are. It just gives them that confidence and that boost. But I love that one-on-one, and research was great, but I knew I would have to dedicate years and years and years to it. And I could make a quick impact and a difference if I did home health care, because it would be one-on-one care. And like I shared with you before the podcast, I got into it. I was like, I want to get into the nursing home business. I want to start nursing homes where the vibe and the feel is very intimate, one-on-one. And my husband's like, well, you need a lot of capital for that. Why don't you look into like something a little bit smaller, like green homes? Green homes were just coming out. It's a concept where there are these small homes. I guess they call them convalescent homes on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, we don't really have that. We have like large scale long-term care facilities. So I looked into it and I was like, home health care, that makes sense. I'll do it. And I researched it for 6 months and I started, and sure enough, the first year we hit $1.2 million. Next year, doubled that. And I was like, wow. So at some point, like I think by year 3 or 4, we had 500 staff members, and we were just like, it became a company like overnight. Who would have known? And then simultaneously, we started, because I mentioned we were both out of school, and he's like, well, why don't you start this? I'll start something in the world of e-commerce, because it was just, this was a decade ago. It wasn't as big as it is now. We'll do package forwarding where, customers, international customers will have a Delaware mailbox and we'll forward the package to them. They can pretend that they're US customers, because the same stuff on Macy's.com in Korea is not available, or in the US is not available to a customer in Korea. But sure enough, right away, we got blacklisted from Sephora and Macy's and everyone, because I
got
guess
blacklisted.
Like we weren't allowed, no one was allowed to ship products to our warehouses anymore from Macy's. Not even my own personal products. I couldn't order from Macy's and have it show up to our warehouse. So we're like, this business model is not working. Let's pivot. And then we're like, now we're in this, I think our first warehouse was, how many square feet? 6,000 square feet. We're sitting in this empty 6,000 square feet warehouse. We're like, all right, we got to do something. So I recruited my brother, who was in high school at the time. And it was my husband, my brother-in-law, and I'm doing the home health care thing, but I was like, I'll help you guys and my brother. And we're just getting on the phone, trying to get people to put their stuff in our warehouse so we could charge for it, like somehow to be able to pay rent. And then my brother's like, there's this concept of crowdfunding. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. It was just starting out. And we're like, yeah, that's a good niche. Let's start contacting those people. And we started contacting, and it was really interesting, like how you fall into these things. But they had a totally different need than other customers, e-commerce customers, because they're just starting out. Typical, normal, classic fulfillment companies don't really want to deal with them because they don't really have a whole lot of volume, and they don't want to start with you with nothing. But we were like, we'll take you on, not a problem. And sure enough, we would get these customers coming in at 0, and then like they would hit 100 million in revenue in 2 years. So we kind of grew with them. We developed a software platform for them, and I don't know, we just started moving from, that 6,000 square foot warehouse to 15,000 square feet to 30,000 to 100. We just kept growing and expanding to, 4 or 5 international locations. And so, yeah, that was the story. And so now we have the home healthcare company, we have this, and I'm running both while my husband's in Korea developing the software and working on that. It just became too much. I was like, one of these businesses has to go. And the home healthcare business at the time, compliance, there was a lot of compliance issues. Healthcare is extremely regulated, and it just felt like they're changing the rules on us every day. Like, right now we have the model of in-home care, like live-in caregivers. So you give them, and it was great. It worked very, very well for people who have Alzheimer's, right? They get one caregiver that stays in their home. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, you can't have that anymore. You can't pay a per diem rate and you can't charge a daily rate. So we're like, oh, now we have to have, beat that up, but we have to have like 5, 6 different caregivers go in there and manage overtime. It was just a staffing nightmare, right? And I was like, yeah, this isn't, and the margins were very, very small. New Jersey hadn't raised their reimbursement for home health, for home care in 16 years. So we're expected to pay staff a certain wage, but however, our reimbursement is not going up. So it was just like low margins. I couldn't really pay my staff the wages I wanted to. And I was like, this is not why I got into this, right?
Yeah. So I want to give some context. So what are the businesses that you currently own? So it's like you have the healthcare?
No, I that's where I was going with it. I exited that, sold that business to focus on the e-commerce business. And then same thing with e-commerce, fulfillment, logistics. As you know, Amazon's not really profitable in that business, in their fulfillment business. They make their money off of the AWS. So we're like, and that was another thing. We're competing with Amazon for staff in the fulfillment logistics business too. We're competing for the same staff. It was just a staffing nightmare for both businesses, right? And I was like, I'm not really passionate about this fulfillment company. I got into the aging business and it's not really what I want to do. It's not the impact I want to have. So sold that, exited that, started over. Yep. And that's where we are today. I started Qyral. It's a personalized skincare and cellular health regimen. So every single one of the formulations are custom made for the customer, and they're all revolving around the cellular health process, the cellular turnover cycle. And I could get into that, but
yeah. So explain that. What does that mean to the common man like me? Like, so what would that? So explain cellular.
Sure.
What that is.
So aging starts at a cellular level. So our cells in our body, aging starts at a cellular level. And in order to really focus on aging, you have to start at a cellular level. And I was tired of all these skincare companies out there and supplement companies saying, well, let's reverse aging overnight. No such thing, right? And I was like, I really want to have an effective line, a product line. And in order to do that, you have to customize it for the individual. So how our products work is that you first get a serum that helps exfoliate the skin, and it's adjusted and made for the customer. We adjust the pH for them because my mom's 62-year-old skin is not the same as a 16-year-old who's suffering from acne. Right.
There's like different acid levels, right? There's like an acid and base level, kind of like a pool.
Exactly. And all these custom companies, because there's a few of them out there now, they're focusing on ingredients. Well, ingredients are great, but like if you don't have the right concentration and the right pH, it's not going to be an effective product. And if you want me to explain pH, it's how acidic or basic something is. It ranges from 0 being extremely acidic to 14 being extremely basic, and water is a neutral 7. Our skin falls somewhere in the 5.4 to 6 range, or 4.5 to 6 range, depending on the day. So yeah, to really have an effective skincare, at first you have to exfoliate the skin. You have to the cellular turnover cycle, which is our natural skin cycle. When we're born, this process happens every 2 weeks. However, by the time we get to our 50s, this process happens every 90 days. Hence why we have wrinkly, dull looking skin as we get older.
So it gets like old and we get like flaky?
Yes, because the skin layer is not turning over fast enough, right?
Okay.
So in order to start this process, we got to get the skin cells to turn over faster. And you could do that with laser peels in a dermatologist's office. You could get that with prescription grade retinoids, again, prescription grade. But the other way you can get it is through acids. And however, to do acids, you have to personalize it, because if you have oily skin, for example, glycolic acid won't penetrate as well as salicylic acid, right? If you have sensitive skin, you need a different type of acid. So you need different ingredients, but not only different ingredients, you need them at the right pH and right concentration, because it's not just the pH, the concentration is also important, right? You have to balance it. So that's where you first start. And I realized then, I was like, okay, so we have to customize this experience. And we brought some developers in. Actually, one of our head developer is getting his PhD in artificial intelligence. So we got an awesome team together, and we want to really learn your skin. You take a quiz. But this formulation adjusts with you and it grows with you. When you move from Florida, humid Florida, to dry California, we'll adjust the formulation for you. So that's the first step of the process. Second step is, now that you've started this cellular turnover cycle, right? You're speeding it up. Now you're going from, every 90 days to, you're trying to speed it up. So first you have to desquamate, AKA just peel the layers of skin off. And then you're pushing cells to the surface, but you need help rebuilding, right? Am I getting too technical? Let me know.
No, it's okay. I'm listening.
I can talk about this all day, every day.
No, I think it's cool because mainly, so if women who are listening, I think this is perfect for women. Is this mainly a product for women or men?
No, it's for anyone that has skin. It's anyone. Men need this more, because I find that women are very resourceful. They do their research. However, men are just like, what do I do? And they don't.
Yeah, I'm going to point my girlfriend to you and see. She's all about her skin, and she's very skin oriented.
Oh, good. Well, anybody can use it. I think we all want to look beautiful and have flawless skin, but just to, now that you have that, you need the second step, which is help rebuild. And so we have a serum for that. And then the third step is you got to moisturize, right? And that is formulated just for you too, because your skin might be a little bit more dry than my skin, which is oily. So we formulate the moisturizer just for you. And then you got to feed the system, the cellular turnover cycle from the inside. So we have supplements that help you do that. So it's 4-step regimen, and it's personalized just for you.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, what you get in, what you put in, you get out too. So you're adding supplements to people, and people aesthetically want to look a certain way, but then eventually you're targeting their insides too, right? By helping them, really regulate their pH inside. Because I know, like, your telomeres are like the shoelaces on the end of a shoe or whatever, and I know that huh?
You've been reading my blogs.
Wait,
Yeah, I know. I just wrote about it, about telomeres. Have you been reading my blogs?
Yeah, I love it. I read, forgot the gentleman's name. He has a book called Lifespan. The English guy. I heard the Audible, and I read the book. But I listened to the Audible. He was in a negative tone for a long time. I was like, "Am I going to die in 10 minutes? What's going to happen here?" Like, I'm freaking out. But yeah, I mean, I'm big. I think it's very interesting because we do have a shelf life, if you will, and to make people feel good. It's like, I want to go back into the home, the senior citizen home, where you first took that lady and made her look glamorous, and made her feel a certain way. Because I just watched a YouTube. I watched this. I don't know, this effeminate gay man. I don't even know what the PC terms. I'm from New York. It just felt like it is gay, effeminate, whatever. And he would take a woman who looked like she just literally got off the ground and looks horrible, and then transforms her, and you can see what it does to the body. Like, oh my God, look at me! I look beautiful. And then the energy, the enthusiasm, and
yeah.
And that's something that you do, but you do it from a cellular level. It's not just the makeup that goes on the face, and it's not a mask, but you're doing it. You're working from the insides out.
Yeah.
And
I want it to be one of the most effective over-the-counter age well solutions. I hate the term anti-aging. What does that even mean? Why are we anti-aging? It's a natural thing that happens, right? Let's embrace it. But I wanted to have the most effective. And in order to have the most effective, you have to really get to know the customer, personalize it for them. And, we do that through our quiz and our algorithm, and it seems to be working. It's very exciting.
So what have you found with your product and service? Like, what is the feedback you get from your clients? Because I could tell you're in your passion because of, what you said. You talked. It's not like I heard a conversation the other day. I'm part of this group, and one of the guys says, I have all these ideas, and he's like, well, my cousin came to me and he has this really good idea, and my mentor was like, no, don't do that. And then he says, well, there's this thing I did when I was a little kid, and I got over it by doing this. and it brought me such confidence. And he's like, yes, do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't remember per se what the story is, but that's what I heard with you. That was your thing. You changed someone from the inside out, and it's your passion. So tell me about, like, what are your clients' experience with you? What is their feedback that they give you from using your products and services?
Yeah, what's nice about it, I mean, even if we do get a negative feedback, let's say, we can quickly pivot and change right away, right? Well, like right away, I'll reformulate for you. But the feedback has been very, very positive so far. I mean, the reviews we're getting are too good to be true, almost. Like, no, I want some of like the negative feedback. But what's nice is your typical brands out there, like your L'Oreal's and Olay, they don't have the same luxury of pivoting and changing their formulation the same way we do, right?
They're big.
They have to pull everything off the shelf. So what's nice about being e-commerce, personalized, custom is the fact that we can change and we could like make every customer satisfied. I won't give up until you're satisfied. That's something I'll promise. So
yeah, and that's you know what I call 100% win rate. You know, because sometimes, you know, when you're in front of someone that's your ideal client, you might be in front of the wrong customer, but if you're in front of someone that you could help, sometimes, like for me, I know sometimes it's okay to refer them to someone else, you know, and I always come into that with the mentality of I'm winning every time, whether, you know, I give them my service or I refer them to what they actually need, you know. So that's just something food for thought.
Yeah, no, but for me, I don't know. I see it as a challenge. Like I want you satisfied, but unfortunately, I'm not getting too many opportunities to like, you know, keep you satisfied because it seems like people are satisfied very well. My mom had some feedback the other day. She was like, I wish you had sunscreen in this because I have to put my sunscreen on top of it and I don't really like it and blah, blah, blah. And I will eventually do it. It was just very difficult to formulate with sunscreen just based off of the texture and I wanted to first get one thing really, really right before I move on to the next. So, and texture is obviously important for people, how something feels on someone's skin. And I wasn't too sure of the sunscreen piece. So I want to take my time and formulate. Yeah. But I have an awesome R&D team. And an awesome formulator I'm working with. Like he had 30 plus years of experience working for some of the top brands. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Nice. So it's cool because you could pivot, you could tweak and course correct, and like mom gave you feedback. I think that's great. And she's saying, hey, you know, but it's sometimes you got to know, okay, we're focused here.
Right.
Or we're going to get nicked by death with 1,000 paper cuts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You have to focus in like a laser, and I think it's pertinent to business. And one of the topics I want to talk about was personalization to your customer and your user experience, which I know is something you're an expert in, and you have some deep insights into that. So I think the user experience is everything. Like how is someone going through each step of our product? What are they? Is it complicated? Do they not know? Like if you're on a website, do they not know where to click? Where are they going? How many clicks does it take to get me to here?
Sure. Yeah. We first started with a much longer, extensive quiz, and we realized that the drop-off rate increases as you have more questions. So we really wanted to bring it down. Obviously, there's certain questions that we need to know. If not, I don't want to burn your skin, and I want to get something right for you. So the most important questions are really how sensitive is your skin? If you're using other medication, because I need to know that, right? To adjust the pH and make it effective. Your color tone, the tone of your skin actually plays an important role because let's say you have darker skin, I can't really go down in pH as much as I want to, right? Or if you're very, very fair skin, same thing, right? And probably burning. So there's certain questions that we can't get around, but it's very quick. It's probably, the quiz will take you no more than 85 seconds. That's too precise. 85 seconds.
It's funny. I do a questionnaire too, and I do 5 questions, and I learned this from Jay Abraham, who's a master marketer online, and he would ask his clients like 300 questions, and he would say, "I want you to answer as many if all of these, if you can, and people would get to 150. But the funny thing is he'd ask a question under the question, just to view it from a few different angles to like really assess the truth of it. Because sometimes the truth isn't the truth. It's just weird. Like I just do 5 questions. But I know for what he charges, it's his is a very high ticket item, so he's got to know like the depth. You know, I noticed for like, you know, something that we have, it's got to be fewer questions, and then it just gets people on board.
Right.
Gets them on.
Yeah, you have to find that happy medium where it's not too much, it's not too extensive, but I mean, honestly, like the same amount of time it takes you to go to a store and read the labels on products, like you're actually saving time, right?
Yeah.
And if anything, yeah, you're saving time, and we'll reformulate if you're not happy about it. So, yeah, that's with personal. Have you ever taken one of those eHarmony? I was talking about 100 questions. Have you ever taken one of those eHarmony?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, I don't remember.
But you're committed at that point. Question 100, you're like, I gotta do this.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? I just want to go meet somebody in person. I don't want to, yeah, because online it's like you can touch up your pictures, you can do everything. And I think I'm a horrible picture taker, but once I meet someone in person, I'm like, I either vibe with them or I don't. Like I'm very confident, I'm very giving, I'm very like direct. But yeah, those questions, it's like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. Well, actually, sorry, not to get off topic.
No, get off track.
On Planet Money, I was just listening to, I don't know if anybody else heard this, but it's about a marriage pact, and they're starting, I think it started at Stanford. So you take a questionnaire and they match you with another student who's as very compatible with you, right? And you make this pact, and you could go on throughout your life. But I think the reason they're starting it at college is because, you know, you have made a lot of money, and it's a sincere connection. And the questions are based off of your morals and your values, things that really matter, and they don't really change throughout your life, right? It's kind of like your Myers-Briggs, you know, your personality score. It doesn't really change, right? Your personality type. So then, you know, in 10 years, 15 years, if you don't get married, you could go back to that person. But what's interesting is it's spreading from school to school, kind of like Facebook, how Facebook started at Harvard. And so now they're spreading it throughout different universities. That's interesting. A marriage pact.
You know what's funny? The personality types. I have a friend of a friend who wrote a book called Personality Isn't Permanent. And he talks about that. You know, his name's Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he speaks about like, actually, it is not. Your character and who you are is always changing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and we put these, you know, there's like the dark side of personality tests, and now there's pushback. There's for everything. But I know if I look back, I don't know if you ever did what's it called? An epoch, where you go back and see the chunk of 10 years that you lived.
No, I've never done
and do the story of like what the story was from the beginning to the end of that, and seeing where you made that change to the like 10. You could do, I don't know, diapers to 11, then 12 to like 18, 18 to 27, 28 to 37. You know what I mean? And keep going until you're, you know, wherever you are. If you're 70, 80 doing this, but it's like, you see the hero's journey that you took. It's something that was very interesting. And yeah, you see that you actually do change. Like, I'm definitely not the heavy metal kid I was in high school with long hair, goatee, guitar, drums, you know, but you see all these changes that you make incrementally. Like, I'm a personal development junkie. Like, I love getting better. Like, I invest and I'm like, okay, Sunday I'm focusing for 4 to 6 hours on this skill. Like right now for me, it's getting better with enrollment and seeing where I'm missing the link. So I notice I've been in front of wrong people, and I'm like, this person is definitely not.
Right.
What am I doing? But it was funny.
What things do you think don't change? Do you think there is anything in you, in your core, like that's just a value system that's embedded? Do you think there are things like that?
Yeah, huge. I actually study. You know, now we're getting into the juice of the. Now we're learning about each other. Me and Hanieh are going to be best friends in the future. She doesn't know it yet.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like I studied Stoicism and philosophy Like I read everything, and I believe like I did my core values first with a lady named Lori Kennedy. I used to be a health and wellness coach years ago, and I had a little thing online, and it was like 12-week programs. I did all this stuff when I was in Brooklyn, and she walked me through the core values. She had me name 20, and I did a PDF, and I was game for this. So I did 20, and then she had me narrow it down to 10, and then down to 5, and then there were 3 that I adopted for myself, and I wrote them on an index card, carried them in my pocket, and filtered every interaction. I did this for like 3 months, and filtered every interaction I had to see if these were the core values that sit with me, and they were. And I'm gonna tell you mine, and then I would love if you told me yours, if you have some, and they've adopted It's weird. I'll give this weird example. If I walk into a bathroom and I see there's paper towels on the floor, and there's the guy who has a tissue attached to his foot, and so everywhere, I will pick it all up before I leave the bathroom. Like I have to make a place better.
Love that.
Yeah, and it's one thing. Unless it's really disgusting, then I'll go to the manager and say, "Dude, you got to, I'm eating at your restaurant. Your bathroom is heinous, man." But it's integrity. Like I have to do what I said I would do. Like even prior to this, me and Hanieh discussed, like I'm kind of like a last minute procrastinating person, but I enjoy the pain. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I do. I enjoy and then getting there and saving the day. It's a weird thing. But integrity is doing what you said you would do. But I also put gritty, Gritty, where sometimes it's going to be hard, and you got to do it anyway. Like you're going to trick yourself. That little monkey always says, "No, don't do that." And then like the angel and the devil kind of thing. And then your higher self says, "No, you have to do that." Because if you don't do it here, it's going to show up in your life over here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's going to translate. And then, so I'm really integral. And when I'm not, I'm about 75, 80%. I'll go back and make sure I clean up that mess somehow. Like I'll say, okay, I got to check that, write it down on my prison wall over here.
Oh my God, we're gonna bring you to downtown LA. There's a lot of cleaning up to do here.
Oh no, but
I told you it's like the biggest
hire people.
there is. Oh my gosh.
But then the second core value is mastery. Like I have to master a craft. And I just learned recently, and this might be something interesting for you, but immerse yourself in something instead and integrate it into your life quickly. ASAP, because we don't. We're in a world of the age of dramatic distraction, and we get like 1,000 paper cuts. No, I'm doing this. You do that. I'm on Upwork constantly hiring people, but it's like, we have to get really good at the skill that's going to move the needle on everything. And then my third one is fearing less by being curious. Fearing less by being curious, because I can be rash. I'm a type A personality with type B style, but sometimes I have to get somewhere. Or I have to do this right now. Like I'm kind of a bullet. I'm a small bull in a china shop. You know what I mean? I have to get to where I need to get and do what I need to do. And be in service. But that for me were the 3 core values for you, because that's your why and your who and your what. Because you have a great personality. You're very easygoing. You know what I mean? You have like that. If you ever read David Data books.
Oh gosh, really putting me on the spot. No, I haven't.
Well, okay, it's all about love and male energy, female energy, and male energy, and how it combines, and how the woman's a Shiva dancing on the male, and how we have to, kind of flux with that personality. It's interesting. There's something I'll email you maybe. But for you, what are the core values that drive you? Because I already see authenticity. Like I see not the one that we discussed with Seth Godin, but I see a good-natured person. I see a good woman. Like, and I want to. She's like, no.
Wow. Thank you.
And but I want to know what like your core values are for you. And sometimes you don't know what they are. You might have just. You get them in the Piaget You
Mhm.
know, when you're between like 7 and 11 is where we figure them out. But for you, what are the core values that drive you to do what you do? Because you have calm confidence. You do.
That's a very good
Um,
question. Yeah. No, that's a good question. I think, I don't know if it's an immigrant thing or it's just you're born with it, but resourcefulness. I think um, I will not, there's no impossible. I mean, I mentioned to you, my husband is an engineer and and he's an MBA on top of that. So if you, there's a funny saying, if you want to learn how not to get things done, or if you want to get a no, ask an MBA, right? Like, no, it can't be done. Um, oh, poor thing. I don't want to talk bad about him, but when I present an idea to him, he right away he goes to like the complication. Whereas I'm like, no, you can get it done. There's nothing that's impossible, right? And I think that resourcefulness, that maybe it's because I was an immigrant and right away I had to adjust and
you
figure
have
things
that immigrant edge.
out. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Immigrant advantage. There you go.
it's true.
Um, yeah, that could be it, but I just don't take no for an answer, and I think that's always been. I've questioned people, doubted things like, no, there's got to be a way. There's got to be even a better way, right? So that's been something from my childhood. It's just part of who I am, the resourcefulness and figuring things out. You don't have to know everything, and like you said, I'm pretty gritty. I stick with things. Yeah, I don't think if you start realizing that, maybe I'm not saying this correctly, but you're the problem, not the other person or the thing. If you start thinking about like, how do I change my approach, right? You don't see anything as being impossible.
Mm.
And just a quick story. My mother is a social worker, right? And so Iran had a revolution in 1979, and my mother was taken in. Four of her roommates were executed. My mom was also on death row. She was next to be executed, and they were just trying to build a case around her. Anyone that was against this new regime and new government. So while she was in prison, one of her friends found her name on a list and said, "Oh my God, I recognized her." And he came and approached her and said, "Banaz, I'll try to get you out of prison if you can run these women's shelters, because there's all these women, and prostitution was legal prior to the revolution." So, and my mother being a social worker, she would do the health checks for these prostitutes. She would work for the government at the time and do the health checks. And so he's like, you have a rapport with these women. Now they're ending up in these shelters because we don't know what to do with them. We're not going to execute them. They want to, but they don't have a real case against them. So we're putting them in shelters. Can you come? If I could get you out of here, can you run these shelters? And she's like, sure, get me out of here. And sure enough, he's able to get her out of prison, and she starts running this shelter of like 60 or so women. And then the Iran-Iraq war starts. So we have all these widows of servicemen that are ending up in the women's shelters as well. So this women's shelter of 60 women was slowly growing to 100, 200. And these two groups of women were clashing. So my mom's like, I got to teach them something. Like, I got to teach them a skill. Mind you, this woman didn't know anything about business, didn't know about management. She was a social worker, a young social worker. So she taught them how to sew, which was her craft. And little by little, she'd like set up like lines. You guys do the collars, and she was teaching these women a skill. And then she went back and told one of the, people in charge, said, "Can I have sewing machines? If I could get sewing machines, I could teach these women even more skills." And they were like, "Well, the war has started. We need uniforms. We need sheets for their first." For our soldiers, can your women make these uniforms and sheets? And she's like, "Absolutely, get me the sewing machines, I'll do it." And she does. And these women, she sets up assembly lines without even knowing what an assembly line was, right? Like, she didn't know anything about the Ford production system and lean and all these things that we term. She sets up assembly lines based off of these women's skill set. And then, first they're doing like this row is doing collars, this row is doing sleeves. And then, this team is putting it together. And then they were able to do sheets and other things. And she went back and she's like, we've been doing volunteer work for about a year or so. Can I get these women to make money? Can you get them paid? And so they're like, sure, not a problem. We'll give you guys stipends and so that you could pay these women. And little by little, these women were able to save up. Some of them remarried, but they were able to like move out of their situation. And at least they had a skill now, right? They could get a job with a skill. So this was a story in my life. She was a hero to me. And I think this want and need to help people has always been in me. Like, I want to be of service to you.
That's the entrepreneur story.
Yeah.
Your mother lived the entrepreneur story. She didn't know how. She figured it out. And when there's a how, the how is the directness of the energy. The who is the people that you don't know you're going to run into yet. Mm-hmm. And then you run into them and stuff like that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I guess that's my why.
That's why you are who you are.
Oh, thank you. But that's my why. I want to help as many, especially women. I want to teach them the skill. I love being a teacher. Like, if I wasn't an entrepreneur or business owner, I'd probably be a teacher, probably an elementary school teacher, because those are your fundamental years, right? So I want to teach. I want to educate. I want to be resourceful. And I think part of what we're doing with our company is just that. That's why I'm doing network marketing. I think I briefly mentioned it, but I was seeing that a lot of my girlfriends, first of all, I mentioned in my last company, I wasn't able to give my employees the wages I wanted to, especially these women, right? And I would mention to them, have you considered going back to nursing school? You could make a lot more money. And a lot of them couldn't go back, right? And they were making, very little money. And I wanted to give them an opportunity to make more, but, it was impossible. And I thought, in my next life, in my next career, I'm going to set up a business system. I'm going to try to merge entrepreneurship with the gig economy somehow, but give an opportunity to women to make infinite amount of money. And I think, and I know network marketing has the ability to do that. You have some network marketers in some of these companies making millions of dollars. So if somebody has the skills or somebody has the potential and they just need the skills, we try to teach them that. We have an app and so forth. We try to educate them. But I think that's one of the reasons we did network marketing. So I could kind of do what my mother did for that 350 group of women. I could multiply that by magnitude. So sorry, I got a little off topic, but
and mother planted the seed in you, and look what sprouted, right? That was what she learned, ingrained and wove into your fabric.
Right.
And that's part of who you're being, because you witness this and you learn this and you earn the learn on that. It's funny, it's like we're all Native American paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a Native American saying where it's like they have these paintings and there's an imperfection left in the painting, though. The rest of the painting looks almost perfect, but there's this one imperfection that we're always working and guiding ourselves to become that best version. So it's not a distant shore, it's a guiding star. And then that's the story your mother left to you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so excited about that. So your core values, if you could name them out loud, what would they be?
Being of service, is that a core? I guess that could be a core value.
Why not?
Being of service.
Upserve.
Upservice to the people around me.
Yeah.
Educating and empowering whoever, like, as what is it? Lift as I climb. I never want to leave anyone behind. Like, whatever I learn, I want to transfer it to someone else. Like, this is how I made money. I'll teach you how to do the same if you want to learn, right? So and sometimes I overstep. Like, I want to help, right? Being resourceful and gritty. I think those are my core values. Like, I can't take no for an answer, and nothing is impossible. I also had a grandmother with a second grade education, but she was able to like build apartment complexes, not being an engineer, and she was able to lead. So like, you don't need education. You don't need to have you don't need to know.
I want your book. When are you writing your book?
Oh my God, should I?
When are you writing your book, woman? You definitely. I would love to read it.
Thank you. Oh, you're sweet. But I come from a line of very powerful women, right? Mm-hmm. And how can I not be who I am, or how can I I'm stepping on the backs of these ancestors, and they're all transferred. Their genes are transferred and they're in me, right? Mm-hmm. So I think when we talk about our core values on a cellular level, a lot of this is in our DNA, right? We're born with it. How does it change? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's like our core person. So actually, it's funny. I was reading this book. It's called, I think, Blueprint. I don't know who the author is, but it talks about how there's no such thing as nurture. It's all about nature. Even your nurturing environment is based off of nature, right? The genes in the people in that environment. So like if you are meant to be a musician, you will find a way to be a musician no matter what. Even if your parents push you down the scientist route, you'll figure out a way to go to that core person somehow or another. So I thought it was interesting. It makes me think about, especially my kids. I have 2 children, so I think about like their upbringing a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
tell me about your kids. I want to learn about your kids.
gosh, I have a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old, so you can imagine. I'm not getting a lot of sleep. Like one cries, and I have both of them in the same room right now because I don't want the 2-year-old to feel alone. And now there's this new member, so I have both of them. This one wakes the other one up. So at 2 a.m, I have like surround sound.
They're communicating. You just don't know it yet.
Oh yeah.
It's a primordial voice going back and forth. And
do you have any children?
No. My girlfriend has 2 kids. They're one's 16, the other one's 19. One's going to school to be a doctor. She's actually going to Stanford, I believe, first over in Cali, and the other kid's like he's into salesman. He works for an engineering firm, which is funny you said that. He's getting his comeuppance right now.
Yeah, but I think if you've had employees, you had the experience of having influence on the people around you, and like nurturing individuals' talents. And so I think about that, like finding my son's skills, what are even at earliest too, like finding out what he's good at and nurturing that.
But the thing is I believe, a lot of people lack confidence, and I know confidence is from competence, and that's by getting that experiential learning of doing it until you get it right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're in this world where, oh wait, they're perfect, I'm not, so I shouldn't do it. Where it's the opposite, where we grow incrementally. And I believe, you got to guide your kids. And as a leader, I forgot where I learned this, but someone said this to me and it made sense. And I actually had to fire 3 of my clients because after he said it to me, I said, and it reminds me of you. And I could tell you're a good person, and you want to pull that person up I'm about to bust through the wall here, but you want to, if you're on a hike, if you go to my LinkedIn page, you'll see I'm an avid hiker. I love hiking. I snowshoe. I do shit outside. I do all kinds of weird things, archery. But you can't lift that person off that rock and put them on your back and carry them on the rock, because you're eventually going to fall off that rock. Because if you go to put on 2, so you as a leader, you can nurture someone, I believe, so far, but you got to put your hand out, and they got to be willing to grab and put the energy into you to lift themselves up. And I recently I don't even know why I want to say this on a podcast, but I had to let two people that I work with go because I noticed, some people don't want to grow. And I learned, I was in one of Darren Hardy's program where you want to hire A players around you. You want people who have that skill that's better than yours. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you do, and you're up here, and that you want to nurture. You want to nurture them. You want to say, okay, like for me, I work with coaches who are exceptional in their niche and looking to get better, and they have to do the work. They have to do, college doesn't stop. Lifelong learning never stops. It's a constant climb. And I believe when you have that ingrained, you bring that in other people. But as a nurturer, come from a social working family, I've actually dated a lot of social workers. That's another story. But it's like they're good people, and they want to give, and they'll give everything they can, but their energy leaves them, and then they have nothing to give to people that actually could use your services, right? If that makes sense.
No.
Where I'm going with that.
That makes tons of
What does
sense.
that sound like to you? I don't know. Just take that and garble it and
No, but I actually want to go back to something that you said
yeah,
about
whatever you want.
confidence. I find myself to be very insecure. As confident as I come off, I'm still inside of me. I'm insecure. And I thought about it this morning. I was like, why am I like I don't know if the term is insecure, but but what it allows me to do is open myself up to learning, right? As soon as you think you know, you kind of close yourself off a little bit, right? You walk into a crowd, let's say you're very confident, and maybe the term is not confidence, it's arrogance or whatever it may be, but you walk in, now you're closing yourself off from like receiving all this information to you, right? Or when you're interacting with someone, as soon as you think you know more than them or you have that confidence, you close yourself off to those subliminal cues, right? Through their body language, those little things, those small nuances that they say and do. And so I like to kind of stay a little insecure at times. And maybe the term is humble,
Well,
but
maybe it's humble. Maybe you're looking for the word humble.
I don't know. I don't know if it, but it's kind of like I don't know as much as you. You might know more than me in whatever in a different subject matter than me.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
you
sure you can
now
school me in some stuff. Are you kidding me? You definitely, yeah, you're. I can tell you got a lot going on. It's just I do the immersion integration constantly, and I get the reps. And the thing is like I pay to be in rooms with really high end people. Like if you looked at my life, you would think I'm a what do you call it? What is that? Essentialism. I'm very essential. But the majority of my money I take and I literally put myself in masterminds, reference groups, and investing in being around people that are up here because it's like I know once that happens, I see my clients sprout and I'll say, wow, he went from 60,000 to 140 in a matter of 6 months. How did that happen? Because of the growth that we're, like one on one, it makes 11. I mean, it's two, obviously, but it's like the collaboration. To collaborate is to create a laboratory with that other person with their resources and tools. And, Hanieh's going to take her resources, I'm going to take mine, and we're going to experiment. We're going to put our lab coats on. We're going to make different things and see what happens. And some chaos might happen, but order will come from that.
Right, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. So I don't think maybe you have something inside that you're not confident with, and that might go back to loving that 10 or 9-year-old child. Loving the beautiful young baby Hanieh running around.
It's a little bit of the imposter syndrome too. I think
I have that too, constantly.
That maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. A little bit of that imposter syndrome. Like I don't know enough. I don't, and it keeps you humble and open to learning. And
that's exceptional because then you're humble and you're open. Like I know my girlfriend will tell me, you're not humble. I with some things, there's certain things I'm not. I'm just like, I want to go from A to B and I don't need to do this. I feel like we're doing this. Let's just go from here to here, right? The straight line. And then there's other things like, I still train in coaching, which I've done for years. And I don't, and some of my friends are like, you're wasting your time. But I said, buddy, I look for coaches in the rooms too. And I'll be like, hey, let's do an independent contract. I have some clients I want to offset on you. You're really good. And I think, so it's like being humble keeps you curious, keeps you like a child looking around and saying, look at that beautiful butterfly. And I think that's the Persian poet in you. You know what I mean? Like Rumi. I don't know if you read Rumi.
Yeah, I do, of course.
Yeah. Read that before you go to bed and it just stirs dreams inside of you,
That's sweet. No, but I like confidence when I think about it. If I was so confident in my product, maybe I would, when a customer review comes in, I'm like, no, I'm confident in this. Like you're mistaken. So I think maybe I'm using the wrong terms, but it's keeping yourself open to receive feedback. And I think it's important to have that. So not being overconfident, I guess. The opposite of that is humility. So maybe that's the
Right.
term. Staying humble.
Yeah.
Stay humble at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say stay humble and stay starved.
Mm.
Hungry. Most people are hungry. But
Mm-hmm.
when I always try, I always try to take someone's stuff and like supersede it to the next level. So it's like I'm hungry. How can I stay starved? Where it's like that crave of like I must, like Maslow, who was I forgot, developmental psychologist or something, said you must be what you can. I don't know what the exact saying is, but it's not like you want, or a second order is desire. If we all cashed into our desires, we'd all be like, I don't know, we'd be a little sick society.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
But it's going to the truth of the matter, because feedback is inevitable. Like, I always ask my guests and clients for feedback, and I do stuff so minimally, right? Where because I'm the entrepreneur, we got to take resources from a lesser, so and put that, and then also put the money back in the business,
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible, right? So this thing can kind of flourish on its own. But yeah, you're humble, woman. You know what I mean? Your nature sings that. I didn't know what to expect when I met you, and I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. This is interesting, but yeah,
Wait for you to come out to LA,
I'm
please.
gonna come visit. I need a
Please
tan.
do.
You
Please do.
know?
I mean, we're still on severe lockdown. I don't know about you guys. Are
Are
you
you?
guys Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are an upstate. I mean, I don't wear like. I'm in a huge office setting. I'm the only one not wearing a mask. Until someone says something to me, I'll say, "Have you looked at the CDC website?" Because it gives you all the facts there.
Hmm.
And this is, and I actually already caught this in December when I was in last year. I was in California. I was in the LAX area. I'm part of this thing called Virtual Coach, led by Evan Pagan, and I was there and I caught it there, and it was I didn't know what it was, but I was like, okay, straight to parboiled vegetables, no proteins, workout regimen, and I beat it in 5 days.
Mm.
And yeah, and it was like, I know when I'm like, I've never, whatever this was, I've never had this. So it's like, okay, what do I do? What does Ray do? Ray eats, drinks clear, like, so I was at 60, 70%. I was going out to eat and doing, our fun things, having things that, usually I like to know what's in my food, because
Mhm.
my mother grew up in she was a naturopathic, not doctor, but practitioner. So she used to help people and go off and, oh, you're that? And she would work and help people, and then eventually she started charging for it. But it's knowing, like, that a lot of what's going on now is mental health, and also, I believe what happened now, also, people are going to say, hey, wait, I wasn't really too smart with my finances. I didn't really put anything away.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe this job I'm working doesn't really provide the living. And I think the breakdown of society now, because my acronym for system is save yourself time, energy, money, and sanity.
Mhm.
Right? So how can I make myself take from insane to sane to, it's not even going to rhyme, but to an exponential level. And I believe this happened for a reason. I
Right.
think this is the
Right.
greatest time for us right now.
Yeah. And I see so many people finally doing what they're passionate about, or picking up the hobbies that they always wanted to do. I think as terrible as COVID has been, it's actually been a very good thing for a lot of people too. They've gotten a chance to like reconnect with their families, and maybe it's a little too much, but
Yeah.
I think it was necessary. We were going at a speed that was, and I think actually this is pushing us even further, like with technology and certain other things, it's pushing us even further ahead, like e-commerce and online shopping that's taken off. But
Yeah, right.
a lot of people are starting the business that they always wanted to start, and they're doing the things they always wanted to do. So you're right, that break in.
Yeah, there's free, like we were talking about core values. I don't know if it's a why or a who, but my core value is freedom, like freedom location. Like all my employees can work from anywhere in the world, and they just got to zoom in. We just got to meet and talk, and it's easier to do that now than ever, because now it's looked upon as it's okay to do that. You know what I mean? And I don't need anyone's approval anyway. I
Yeah.
usually, it's better to ask forgiveness and permission sometimes. But we are in a world where, now it's acceptable to work virtually and create virtual. And where intangible assets are the intel that we could put online. Like your marketing. Your marketing is going to be targeted psychologically to who you're looking for.
Right.
Going off on a tangent now.
No, I love it. I love our tangents.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you got to wrap up soon. I mean,
yeah, no, I have a baby too. I have a 1-month-old,
Where's the
and
baby?
I
No,
find
you
myself
just
like
wanna-
nursing with one hand, and I see my husband going back and forth, like it's trying to feed this.
bring your
little
husband in. I want to meet your husband. Bring him
Well,
on the
he's in the
podcast.
other room. I'll bring him in. Let me grab him.
Hey, how are you?
What's up, my man? How are you?
Give this little surprise for you.
Yeah, we've been talking about you. You've been part of the podcast, so I figured we might as well meet the baby too. You have an interesting setup. This was all accidental. I'm not
Now
my office.
we got a family.
Yeah, we just got this little duckling for him. It's amazing. If you have kids, you can tuck it into his shirt and it stays in place. It's the best invention ever.
What is it? It's a duck? What is it?
Duck.
It's a duck pacifier.
Duck.
Oh my God! So it's like he has a doll and he can pass it. Oh wow!
Yeah. No, but it's great for any of the moms that want to also work.
Yeah.
Just bring this duck out.
Yeah, my girlfriend's kids are all teenagers now, so I personally don't have kids, but she has kids, and they're my kids in a way. But that's amazing. Congratulations, brother, and congratulations to all the success you're having in your business, man.
It's
awesome.
like bringing pets to work, but it's bring your own kids. I hear it increases morale, so I don't know. I'll try it.
Amazing, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to meet Hanieh's kids. Now you for the audience that's listening and watching later.
Yeah, you want to ask us? You want to ask us how it is to work as a husband and wife?
Yeah. Let's learn about that. How is it to work as a husband and wife? Yes.
Go ahead, Darius.
Good question, Hanieh.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I think it's all about your mindset, right? So the mindset that I always had was I want to work with amazing people and people that I have a genuine connection with, right?
Mm.
And so if that can't be your wife or the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, then shit, I'm doing something wrong. And so I think I think about it, why not, right? Like when we were an agricultural society, this is all we did, right? We worked with our families. We had a good time doing it, right? Given life was not as pleasant and maybe a lot more miserable back then, but it was a good time, right? And so I said, why not? Why can't we work together? Why can't we have a family together? We bring people into the fold that we enjoy spending time with, and that's it.
Yeah, but I think it was the Wright brothers. They would have these screaming matches. One would leave, and then the employees would be like, what just happened? They'd be terrified. And then they would come back and they would just pick up where they left off. And I think we are very, very different. Very, very different.
Yeah.
Darius is analytical. He's
Yes.
very process oriented. As I mentioned, he has a process and he has spreadsheets. He loves that shit, but I'm not. I'm not that way. And I think we balance each other really, really well. And I think the other key is to keep family and home life, kind of separate as much as you can. Like when you're at work, you're a professional. Even great. I mean, granted, we have a baby here and so forth, but we're able to get it separated. But we it's like we embedded it into the fabric of our.
Yeah. I was gonna say, just as Hanieh mentioned, having complementary skill sets and ideas is really important, and I think having a constructive way to communicate the information and also receive the other person's communication, right?
So huge, dude. You're speaking my language, man. It's funny. One thing I want to touch on, which. It was just like an aha, because it's like, yeah, your husband and wife, they have to integrate with each other. They have to immerse with each other. They have to integrate so they can provide solutions. And in agricultural society, that's what you had to do. You had to work, the farmer, the athlete, and the soldier, if you're looking at the Bible, but you had to wake up, and you woke up with the sun and you went to sleep with the sun, and you coexisted together. Yeah. So important. And on that entrepreneurial journey, you have to have someone who understands that. Yeah. Because if you're in a partnership where the other person's just a 9-to-5er and you're the person who's working 12 to 16-hour days, like me, as you can see, I don't know, I don't even know if I shaved today, but it's like, that's the thing that if your partner understands it, because if they don't, you're not going to grow your business. You're not going to grow the team, because they're going to be like, oh, we need to be home so we can watch TV. No, we have to create value in the world. And put that out there. Yeah, exactly. And the process is everything. It's funny because I'm messy. I'm on piles of paper. Like, I'm kind of like, I know where stuff is, but they're my piles. Don't touch my piles, please. And you're the person who's very organized and oriented. So you guys complement each other. That's amazing. You know?
Yeah. And it's like anything in life, as I'm sure you know, it's always like that dance, right? There's no black and white. There's a lot of gray. Yeah. You try to, adjust and readjust, and then, now there's a different, there's a different setting now, and then we readjust again. And it's just like they say, it's a process. It's a journey, right? Like, that's why they call it the entrepreneurial journey, I guess. It's, the goal is great, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's it's a journey, right? And that's all that life is. Like we're not all, it's like if you approached life and like, I can't wait to die, right? Like that's the ultimate thing that happens, right? Like it's the journey. It's like, what do you do in between? And so, I don't know. That's it.
No, you're right. It's
like, I don't want to claim to have any secrets on how to do this. This is just one version that has worked for me, and I don't know if it's ever going to work for anyone else, but I just want to share that's how it is for me.
Wait, say that again. Paraphrase that again, just for our audience.
No, I just said that I don't want to claim to have all the answers to how to make it work. I think it's just something that I found to work for me, and that's it. And I don't think anybody has the answers. I think, at least I myself, spent a lot of time earlier in my career chasing the right answer and chasing people that I thought had the right answers. And then you come to find out, no. Reality is so much more complicated than that. There is no right answer. There's multiple right answers. There's multiple wrong answers. There's people that do things and there's people that do identical things, and they end up in totally different places.
Right. But I'm gonna turn that counterintuitively around. But the simple thing to that, because the simplicity of it is, whether you're right or wrong, you're right, because you believe it or not, when you're searching for all those answers, you already have the answers inside of you. Yes. And whether they're wrong or right, you're going to take the head information. You're an engineer, so you're up here constantly. Right? And she might be the heart of it. And the heart is the feeling. And the feeling is that, I don't want to go deep with that, and you have to match that. Mm-hmm. And whatever because you're right, you can see, oh my God, I need to seek. No, you're not. I just had this conversation with a mentor of mine, Donald Stojak, and there was some people in the group, and I was getting a little annoyed because I'm like, okay, we're going backwards, and I'm like, this is what I want, but I'm like, wait, maybe that's what I actually need to listen to this. And a lot of the people in the group didn't think they were enough. They didn't have that enoughness where it's like, you know what? I do. And if you don't, do the work to get there. But you already know whatever the answer is, it's right or wrong. And then as an entrepreneur, you course correct, pivot, tweak, adjust, reiterate, and create. And then catapult again,
No, for sure. I think we definitely, and like I said, I think this just applies to me. I'm not saying it applies for everybody. But we end up idealizing a lot of people in our lives, like the Elon Musks and the all these people that are doing amazing things. And it's like, at the end of the day, they're just like us. They just made a series of decisions. Let's learn about the decisions that they've made and why they've made them. We all have it inside of us, like you said. We all have it inside of us. It's just who chooses to do something about it or not do something about it. And so it's great, it's like you said, it's all there. It's all there. We've got the secret sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, and two things you said earlier when you went to the agriculture, we have reading, writing, listening, and hearing. And you I think because to send, to receive, and you hit on it. You got to listen and you got to hear.
Yeah.
Right? And listening is such an important skill that we under negotiate, right? We pride speaking, but like when you're listening to your clients, you're hearing their words, you're hearing their phrases, you're hearing their language, and then you're going in to speak to them. It's like I have some clients that are undyingly loyal is because I speak their language. And you said it, I think you said it, or maybe I'm making it up, I don't know. But I think you said listening, and listening is such a crucial skill, man.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I would even take that further and say,
let's do it.
I would take that further and say that, speaking is almost a selfish act in a lot of senses, because it's all about regurgitating what is going on in our mind and not seizing the moment that we're in and evolving it into a unique thought that maybe we never had, right? We're having a conversation. There's two people having a conversation. Receive the information, evolve it, use what you know, and evolve the conversation into something new that maybe into a place that you've never been to before. And that's the beauty of conversation. That should be the beauty of conversation, and not just regurgitating words, right? So,
dude, it's awesome. I don't know if you guys, you might be interested in this too, but Joe Polishstein Jackson, they have the I Love Marketing. You should hop onto those calls. They're free to his network. I'm not part of the Genius Network, but I'm an affiliate of some other things. Mm-hmm. But they talk about, like, the reason why they have these thought discussions is for better things to come of them, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll have intelligent people like yourself, like hundreds of them come, and we all try to figure things out and make them better and like create greatness out of it, right? Because that's where it stimulates, right? Your engineering mind comes, you create worlds in there, that you can only see, and you see them level by level and blueprint by blueprint and structure by structure until it's complete.
He's building up the funnels right now. He's got funnels for funnels.
Are you using dev funnels, drop funnels?
I'm in funnel land right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm working with a funnel coach right now for a system that I'm creating. Nice. A lead magnet.
Yeah.
But awesome. So I'm gonna thank. So guys, we had two guests
for one deal. Yeah, look at that. That's a bargain right there.
Yeah, we got three people on one podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's a third one.
What's the baby's name anyway?
Byram.
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 Byram. Okay.
Yeah, it means like a new year in Turkish and Arabic. It means new year.
Oh, nice.
Celebration. Yeah.
So you know about Seth Godin's Turkish deli experience, right?
Oh, tell me now.
Oh, well, in the Turkish. So who's Turkish?
No, neither one of us.
Oh, neither one of you are Turkish. Yeah. But in the Turkish culture, Seth Godin in his book Practice talks about. I don't really remember it that well, but when you go to buy a loaf of bread, you know how someone in America they say you're on the hook. You're on the hook, which means a bad thing. Like, I feel like a body is planted on the hook. But when you're putting, when you buy 2 loaves of bread in Turkey, you're putting a bread on the hook for a person that can't afford to invest.
Oh, right. I remember that in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, they leave it for the next person.
Right.
So that's what we're doing here. We're leaving things on the hook and, having these thought conversations about the young entrepreneurial journey and the business builder. and any consultant coach listening to this, we're all beginning where we are. We're I forgot who said this. Don't mistake my ending for your middle. It was a female entrepreneur. Do you know? I have no idea. But it's like we're all on our journey. Like your husband's, I forgot your name, sir.
Darius.
Darius.
Yeah.
Darius, okay. But like Darius said, we're all on a journey, and we're all got to just understand the process and trust ourselves, instead of looking for do it ourselves, like Hanieh's story with her mother and all the stuff that she went through, and then she learned the entrepreneurial journey from her mom. I think it's amazing, but awesome. So I'm going to end on that note. Do you guys have any final words together as a husband and wife working together, creating wonderful businesses and helping, I'm going to say, hundreds of thousands of lives? Like, what is your crusade and mission together as one?
To impact, educate as many lives as possible.
Yeah, it's really, it's kind of, life is such a fainting thing, right? Like, you have so little time, even though we think we're here forever. Just try to do as much for other people as you can. I think that's the goal. How can you take your skills, the things that you're good at, and magnify them so they touch as many people as possible, right? That's it. That's the game. That's the game we're playing.
Yeah, it's true. It's like if we could all have that ripple effect where, we're vibration. We can speak by vibrations. It's if we wrap our head around it, I think it's amazing. If you get back to it, it's like we actually understand each other.
And on a subatomic level, we're all the same. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, we're like, what, 95%,
Yeah.
And who knows? So awesome. I'm going to end it here. Guys, Hanieh, I'm going to thank you. Wait, hold on for 1 second. But I'm going to thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for showing up. All three of you, Byron, Darius, and Hanieh.
Thank you. Thank you.
And where can people find you, Hanieh? And where can they learn about you and learn about everything you guys are doing?
I think Qyral.com, Qyral.com. And we're both on LinkedIn. Just search by our names, Darius Banasic, Hanieh Sigari. Yeah, we'd love to, if any of your followers have any questions or would love to chat about anything. Totally open to the sharing anything with anybody, really. So
yeah, and if there are any women out there that always wanted to start a skincare brand, didn't want to deal with the R&D headaches and so forth, come visit us, talk to me, send me an email, Hanieh@Qyral.com. I'll set you up with your back end and everything that you need. All you got to do is the marketing piece of it. So if anyone's interested in being an entrepreneur, please send me an email. Hanieh@Qyral.
Awesome. I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I enjoyed it. And I was energetic and enthusiastic about it. And some insights that I have were, it's good to connect with people on a deeper level, man. And, maybe something we didn't really speak about during the podcast, but it just came to fruition for me, is to go out and meet people where they're at. And if it's something that you just do, if you say you go out, maybe you're at a gym and, most people keep to themselves, but what if you walked up to somebody and said, hey, nice shoes, man. You really got style. I like those shoes. Where did you pick those up? And you compliment somebody, you feel good when you leave, right? And you're connecting with that person on a deeper level. If you really like their shoes, be in integrity with yourself and say something that you actually mean. But imagine if you did that with 5 people, every day, no matter where you were, on your errands, when you go shopping, when you go pay bills, when you go, pick up stuff. I go to Staples a lot, but wherever you go, what if you could connect to somebody on a deeper level and just compliment them and be kind and be good. The world needs more kindness. We need to be a little more gentle with each other. And we're in a life of service. As during the interview, number 2 was that, we're in a life of service. And, when we can think in that way, we can really upserve the people around us and upserve our community, upserve our friends, upserve our family members. And, the word upserve, is a key word that I use when I'm guiding people in my practice. So 3, what would 3 be? I would love to hear what you guys think below, man. You know, what insights you got from hearing Hanieh's story. For me, it was just a deep rooted connection with someone that I actually felt during the interview, that I was around a campfire and we were just having a good time and we were just chilling. And then her husband came, we got to meet her husband, you know, so it was like, you know, where can you deeply connect with other people? You know, maybe have a conversation that's not just superficial, you know, where we're in a world where we just text and we shoot that off, or we Twitter or we IG or whatever, but where can you have that one-on-one connection that's really dying, right? And 4, where can you upgrade your skills, right? If you heard a lot of what Hanieh was saying, it was a lot of skill upgrade. It was about, like, you know, things that you can do for yourself so you can build yourself and also build the community around you, to surround yourself with better human beings. And then trying to think of another insight, but you know what, be open to connect with people, be open to share. You know, through discussion is where we learn. Through discussion is where we become better human beings, right? So that's it, man. I hope you enjoyed my insights. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.